Welcome back to the Intelligent Human Leadership Podcast. It is my honor to be back with you. I took a little short break. I was actually sick here at the end of February. I was traveling to the Desert Tortoise Symposium in Las Vegas. All good things, but sometimes you need to take a break. You need to restore yourself, come back almost at full strength. You might hear a little bit of me recovering, but I'm here with you because it's so important that I come and share with you what I've learned, key insights over 25 plus years working in environmental consulting, working with business owners, people, right? Here we're on the Intelligent Human Leadership Podcast, all about helping you be that most intelligent human leader. And one aspect of that as a leader is how do you run your team, your business, your culture, and it's about the people that you hire. I had a very candid conversation with a business owner recently, a good friend, and we were talking about the challenges of hiring for the right people. And oftentimes we get sucked into hiring for skills over the passion and the personality that individuals can bring. And so this episode is all about why hiring passionate people trumps skills. Where is this leadership blind spot that many of us have? I've fallen into this, and I guide my clients and others to avoid those pitfalls because here's the thing: there's a fatal, I'll say really fatal, could really kill your business if you're not careful. But making the mistake of prioritizing technical skills over passion and intrinsic drive that people bring. This will slowly, at times, poison your team, kill momentum, and erode long term success. I've seen this firsthand. I've seen business owners kind of against their better judgment hire these folks that have technical skills, but they don't have the passion, they don't have the drive, they don't have the mission and the vision in them, in their DNA, in their way of living. They haven't crafted that as a way of being. So in this conversation that we're going to have today, and this is going to be multi-part because I can't answer everything in this podcast. We're going to talk about hiring and how to do that, some processes at the back end on our next episode. But today, I want to give you a leadership wake up call here to make sure, if you're not already aware of this, make sure that you understand that skills in themselves don't always equal success, but engagement, ownership, drive is what sustains it. And oftentimes you as a business owner, you as a leader, you that are having a team member, you're pulling them along, you're trying to hope and pray that they'll get it. They have technical skills, but they don't have the passion. They don't have the mission, the vision. They're not clear on those things. So I want you to just start for yourself. I did this exercise this week with a group of other men where we looked at ourselves, we rated ourselves. Where are we on the vision, the big picture, the mission? What's the objectives, the tasks that we got to get on, and the passion that we're called to have in our lives? Where are you? Give yourself a scale of 1 to 10 here. Just take a moment. Where are you in your vision, your mission, and your passion? Look at all those things. Now, some people could be very mission oriented, be very high on one. Doesn't mean we're going to be high on all of them. I found that I was very high passion, but actually some areas I was off on the mission and it was lower. And so I want you to think about these things for yourself because if you're not leading with fire, if you're not bringing this, what do you expect your team to do? You're setting the bar, you're setting the example here. And if we don't have the passion, if we don't have the oomph, if you will, you're gonna have a hard time pulling that out, bringing that out of your team. So I've seen this firsthand again, where people, hope that they've got these right people, and it's just like they churn through them, and they're not clear on the mission and the vision, and they've lacked some passion. And it could be one of those things. You could have the passion, and you need to marry all of these things together, and that's what we're going to get here in the podcast today. Um, and so recognizing that life leadership is affected by these unseen consequences of tolerating mediocrity. We all should be rising up together. And so look at that in yourself. Are you have you settled? And then let's reset. Let's reset. Here's an opportunity to reset where you're at in these things. There's a lot of problems that come from this. Um, People without passion, you could look at the turnover rates. What most people don't stay if they don't have the passion. They're not going to stay. You're going to have high turnover rates. So look at the people coming in and out of your organization. Those that are passionate are going to stay. They're engaged. They want to help. They want to move in the mission and the vision. There's also productivity drain on the organization. Passionate people are about solving problems. They're about coming together. They're about looking after each other. Disengaged people create problems. I saw a great post today on LinkedIn from an organization called Red Balloon. It's a hiring one where it says, "Well, the salary is only 65,000 they're asking for," but then you don't realize all the other legal costs and other things that come in, and they only work for you for a year because it didn't work. It wasn't a good fit. They were entitled, and they didn't have the passion, but they had the technical skills that you could check off, and you're like, "Oh, this fits the deal, fits the boxes," and it actually costs you way more. Um, in extreme situations, you could have cultural kind of collapse of your organization. These unmotivated hires infect other team members. There's apathy, and I hate to say it, I've seen this firsthand. In fact, I was just talking to a business owner that is facing this in their own company, and they're trying to right the ship, if you will, but it's very difficult. It takes a lot of energy and focus to do that. Innovation often dies. So what we were creating and adapting goes away, and so now the skills are just status quo, right? So is your team growing or grinding? Is your team growing or grinding? And how are your choices? How are your hiring choices affecting your team? Be real about where you're at. I talk about living by a code. Be real, raw, relevant about the results that you're finding. That's the container, that's the space that I hold and steward your business, is helping you get clearer on that and making the moves that you need to make. And oftentimes we can't do this by ourselves on alone. We need a coach. We need somebody else to guide us, to ask us the questions. Um, and think about this too. I just talked to just a few things, kind of external. What about you as the leader? What about you as the business owner? What's the toll it is taking on you? Um, you may be having to make lots of decisions because they're not. You're constantly dealing with disengagement of your team. There is emotional drain there. I mean, we talked about, that is, frustrated by people's the lack of care, lack of engagement, right? Erosion of trust for sure, because now you can't trust these people. Are they going to get are they going to do what they say or not? It's just kind of, hey, we're there. Um, and there's burnout. I talked about this recently on a business roundtable podcast episode about burnout, workplace burnout. If you're not following me on that podcast, please check out Business Roundtable, where I have other guests come on that podcast and we talk about some of the issues that business owners are facing. But here's a self check for you: are you putting out fires? Are you re-explaining? Um, are you losing motivation in yourself too, because you're seeing is just being sucked out of you because you don't have other passionate people? Do you hire for that passion, or did you hire out of convenience? And convenience meaning, hey, this is probably good, it checks the box, but really isn't getting me where I want to be. And the cost of keeping that disengaged person, what is that costing you in your organization? Now, if you find somebody that's passionate, that's something I work really well with teams and helping guide them and coach them. And somebody that's coachable, teachable, you can go a long way. I had a conversation yesterday because I'm working with other companies and firms. They need help vetting these people, determining is this a good fit. I'm not a recruiter, but I help and I work with recruiters and I look at company culture and help in the hiring process and looking at those things, making sure that they're integrated. That's a big thing too, is if you bring a passionate person and you have other people on the other side in your organization that aren't passionate and they're trying to get excited and move things and they're meeting this wall of disengagement, that can greatly impact your ability to bring in and retain, even if you do find the passionate people. So think about that. um, and the long term you know dilemma here is, what kind of leader are you becoming when you allow this to happen? You're not prioritizing this. You're being accidental, if you will, versus intentional. What's this really costing? It's sucking the life out of you. And we don't none of us want a soul-sucking workplace. None of us wanna go in there and be like, "Man, this is just such a drag." But when you're surrounded by passionate people that are excited and motivated and wanna move things, now they may not have it all figured out, don't get me wrong. They have to learn, there's technical skills they have to still develop, and we can work on that. But if you have that first, that makes all the difference. Um, let's let's shift the identity from those that are focus on that inspire greatness rather than tolerating mediocrity. Passion really is the ultimate return on investment because it's culture, it's innovation, leadership. It's when people care deeply, it all rises up. It's a beautiful thing when it can all come together. On the same token, it can be a nightmare when we're not in that place. And so, where is the passion in your organization? How does that reflect in leadership? Um, this isn't just in the business that it'll affect you. Because here's the reality: when as much as we like to leave work at home, if you're in any kind of leadership or position of power or authority, because you have to help get things done, you have to oversee teams. You know, oftentimes you can bring stress physically on yourself, exhaustion. You're not energized um, because you're really carrying disengaged employees. The thing about the physical toll it is taking on you if you're not getting those folks. Now, if it on the flip side, if they're very engaged, they're very helping, they're lightening the load. It should actually feel refreshing to you. Um, but oftentimes too, when we're in this place, we may start to if we start to lead without passion and we may doubt our own vision about what we're calling to do, and that's where we can get into trouble making poor decisions. um, and I don't want that for you. This could go into our relationships outside of work, family, friends, our personal well-being, you know because here's the thing, many of us work in what I call distributed workforce. We maybe work from home. Even if we go in the office, there's things where we're connected to technology and other things that follow us. So this disengaged team is going to slow momentum, profitability is going to drop, and your overall long-term success is going to be diminished if you don't take account for this. And so I want you to look at an area in your own life of where is passion missing, and really do some digging here. And I have the Steward Yourself program that I do for individuals and companies where we can dig in at this. And if you continue to hire and you're just leaning on the skills component, where will you be in 5 years? What will that look like for you? Will you even have a business? Possibly, maybe not. Uh, you know, this is super important about why we need to look at this because it truly is a leadership blind spot in my mind. I see it a lot. Um, that we are hoping for engagement and that it doesn't come. It never comes. Unfortunately, they never had the passion, they never had the drive. Just thought, man, if we could just get them in there, somehow they would change or they would but it's really the other way around. I found if you have a passionate person, a coachable person, they want to learn, they can develop the skill sets, they can develop and become an amazing employee. In fact, I've seen some employees that have started right out of college. They have a great attitude. They're environmental consulting. They really don't have that many marketable skills at the beginning. They have a degree, but I've seen some be at companies for 10, 15, 20 years, and they've helped the company grow because they have the passion and drive, and they develop these skills over time. Um, and you know, I made the mistake. I'll give you an example of one. I made the mistake of hiring for technical skills. We were working with subcontractors at the time, so they weren't technically an employee, but still, think subcontractors. are very similar to employees if you're hiring them on to do project work. And I hired this particular gentleman, and I was early on in my career. I didn't know, honestly, a little better. And I thought, oh, this person has the technical skills, they can do this. And man, it was a learning curve for me in that, yes, they checked the box, but oh my goodness, there was so much I had to learn as an early on manager. And unfortunately, what even happened eventually, there was a legal thing that came about, and I didn't realize, now looking back, the disengagement or the challenge where we had an employee had a lot of problems, or in this case, a subcontractor. Now there was things I had to own that I wasn't asking, I wasn't learning, and it's a two-way street. So I'm not blaming him, this particular person, but I just recognize, man, uh, I didn't really hire well, um, and I don't blame the other person because this is early July for myself, but I'm just saying I want to help you avoid the pitfall. I've had to learn how to show up as a better manager, as a better leader for the team to encourage their engagement, encourage them to uh, stoke the flames, if you will, of a fire. If anybody's done any, I do a lot of camping. So you have to keep the flame going. You have to keep the fire going, the passion going, or it can cool off. And so you want to create a container, an environment for your team to do that, to build on their role, their opportunities for development, right? And so that's super important. Um, and on this podcast, like I said, I can't solve all of them. And I don't want to rush through this this topic because I want to help you guys in part two get to hiring with a purpose and how to build the team. So we're going to come back into the next episode to about where we can really hire with purpose. How do we build those teams? But if we don't think about this, we're going to, and we just kind of go on autopilot, and we just go to just try to check the boxes, get the job description out there, get the person through, um, and we're not hiring for personality and passion, and using that as a filter. You're going to set yourself up for a lot of challenges. And so if you're new to hiring, or you've been around the block for a while, it is always good to remind ourselves that one of the things I really like to do, and we'll get more into hiring, is but building in your team, getting feedback. We'll talk more about that in the next episode. You know, um, when we're creating a space for others and helping, how do we take care of our team and create a space? We want to be able to do that and mentor, guide, lift up those passionate people, help them. Now sometimes they're, depending on their voices, you might have heard me talk about the 5 voices by now. Depending on their voices, they need guidance and help in different ways, and that's one of the things I do with your business, is looking at that and helping in that. But, you know, if we disengage, if we just kind of put our head in the sand and we don't look at this, that cost of disengagement is not just inefficiencies. It's really a slow erosion of so it will, you will lose what you might have had special at one point because you've grown, you have new people in the organization. And so I want you to revive the passion, revive if it's not there now or it's been diminished. And if you're struggling with like, well, how do I do that? Well, let's get on a call. Let's kind of get clear on what do you need, where you're at. Maybe I have resources that will help you. Um, I know they've helped me. And so, you know, follow up. We'll get you on, and we'll see where we can help you. But I'm hopeful that this podcast today is helping you evaluate your own passion in your life, and how are you showing up in your hiring and leading your team. We're going to come back in our next episode to dig deeper in this, to get you out of the pit, if you will, of maybe what you're finding yourself in, and getting you into a positive place, and getting you in a place where you're seeing more engagement in your team. And this never ends. This is a cycle of ongoing, you know. And that's why I'm here with the podcast. So you hear that you're not alone. You hear that David Carr, or Steward Your Business, is one that has been through the journey and can go with you, and you can go further together. I appreciate you guys being with me again here on the Intelligent Human Leadership Podcast. When you like and subscribe, leave a 5-star review, share with others. It's so appreciated because we're helping get the word out to other organizations, other individuals, know that they're not alone. They have the resources. Follow me on YouTube. This is not only on all your favorite podcast platforms, but if you can catch video if you want to see some more of me there. And of course, follow along on any of the social platforms. I'm on there, Steward Your Business or David W. Carr. Thank you all again for being here. Until next time, be well, take care, and keep that passion alive. Thanks, everybody.